heard him on the radio so damn much. I was like, can you shut up?
It is enough. When he said me and Lewis should invert cars in Monaco, I said, excuse me?
Welcome to Wheel It Up, where three black women talk all things Formula One. Hi, I'm Simone.
Hey, I'm Shanice.
Hey guys, I'm Anita.
Anita is back from Beyonce twice in a week. So since we've recorded, Anita has been to see Beyonce twice. And me and Shanice have been to see Beyonce 0 times. We have just watched through Instagram, okay? So, I mean, like, how is it being a celebrity in that? Like, what's going on?
Oh, basically, Beyonce looks at me like directly like this. Literally like this. I could have held her hand. I basically was holding her hand, to be honest. I was in Club Renaissance. I was partying my ass off. It was so good. I had to go twice. I got premium seats on Sunday, so I had a good view. Got some free food, free drink, dancing my ass off. I saw Berbatov and Riyad Mahrez in my section as well. I was like, oh, okay. We were all just dancing to Beyonce and she was just phenomenal. Greatest performer alive, hands down.
Bringing it back to Formula One, someone who I saw, who I got a little excited to see on, what did I see him? Was it Saturday morning? I saw Karun Chandok from Sky Sports F1. I bumped into him at work. We had a little bit of a chit chat. He was doing some Formula E stuff. I was doing darts. So I just bumped into him on my way out of work at 4 a.m. So that was fun.
I hope you cussed him out.
Cussed him out? I didn't cuss him out, Anita. I was tired at 4 a.m. trying to get home, trying to grab some breakfast.
Can't be Max's all the time, cussing people out. It's about making friends, networking.
Please.
Anywho, let's get into the Spanish Grand Prix of Barcelona, Catalonia. This was, as you know, my first Grand Prix that I went to last year. And last week when me and Shanice spoke, I said, I feel like this is going to be quite good. It's not a street track, so it is going to be fast. We're going to have some exciting moments. And we had a good race, didn't we, Shanice?
Wow. Simone, you called it, but I just want to say, I was there just like, woo, yeah. I was having the best time watching this race. And I think, you guys know I love Monaco. And I think especially because of the result.
Bam.
Yeah, exactly. And especially because of the result last week. But Barcelona, I think it just gave me that little something that Monaco didn't and obviously can't really do. The little team, the overtakes, it was just all a bit, it was just nice. And it was a clean race, actually, because I remember we've had a debate on this podcast before about, there doesn't need to be crashes for it to be exciting. Absolutely. And I think this was a really brilliant example of that.
It was. Qualifying delivered quite an exciting bit. We had Leclerc out in Q1, didn't even make it to the end. I was like, babe, what's happening over here? We had Bottas spinning out, red flag. Quite a few cars actually spun out in qualifying, which was interesting. But, even in Q1, Lewis got fastest. And I was like, my baby, look at you going fast in Q1. It was a lot going on, and George was out in Q2, Perez was out in Q2. It was a lot happening in qualifying, I must say. A lot that obviously impacted the race, and then I think one of the most things that impacted the race was my babes, Pierre getting his penalty, and everyone had a position. I was like, babe. So Pierre Gasly got a penalty for a couple of infringements that he had actually in qualifying. So it was like he was racking him up. And it meant he got a penalty. So everyone had to move places. So he was actually, I think he might have been 4th in qualifying.
He was 4th.
And then he dropped all the way down. I was like, babes,
and 10th
for you.
Dropped down to. Do you know what I mean? Like 4th to 10th, that's a lot.
He should know better. He's been in this sport way too long. No, don't give me them looks. You know, Pierre Gasly is my French husband. Like, I love him, but he should know better. Come on, like what he did in qualifying. I don't think I've seen a driver do that as many times. It's just Pierre. You've been here for almost. He's been here for time.
You're not new to this. You're not new to this.
You know what I mean?
You've been here before,
on, bro.
Yeah,
act like you've been here before, bro.
Because you have been here before, Pierre. So to see that happen, I was like, I know deep down he's definitely kicking himself and thinking, damn, I could have done so much better because for you to get, your Alpine in fourth, and you would have qualified higher than Esteban Ocon, and Esteban was on the podium last week. You would have been feeling sweet in yourself. You would have been like, I'm about this. And that got swept all away. Shanice, did you watch qualifying?
No, I didn't watch qualifying, but I did think that something must have happened because Lando ended up starting third. So I'm thinking, well, something's gone on here, but I know the girls will know what it is, and they'll fill me in. But yeah, God, I actually felt a bit sorry for Lando starting in third, to be honest. Like, it's obviously a great position to be starting in, but the other thing, actually, I know that I'm rushing ahead, but there is one thing that I do want to mention about him starting third, because I know that obviously he had that crash with Lewis and it wasn't regular. And earlier, before we started recording, I was talking about, it's not a third place kind of car. He can't compete, whatever. Yeah. But it made me wonder, if, because he doesn't usually start that high up, if that had something to do with the crash. Like, he's not used to having to navigate around. Like, I know, I think it's kind of... But I just feel like, it was a driver error. It was on his part, right? And it was he should have reacted faster. I just thought, I wonder if he's not got his head in the game anymore in that position.
Lando qualified high before. He's used to it.
Not in a long time. Not in a long time. And sometimes it's about practice.
No. Practice. Do you know why I'm not hearing it? Because if you are consistently starting in the middle of the grid, you are always surrounded by cars. You are always surrounded by cars.
Everyone's around you.
Your start is so important, and it doesn't change when you're third. It doesn't. No, sorry, not having it. But back to qualifying.
Well, that's why I wanted to put the question out there, because I needed to get other thoughts here.
No, it shouldn't affect, because Lando's been here before. He's been third before. He's qualified and been before. It shouldn't matter where you are in the pack. You are, like Anissa, you're surrounded by cars. Like, just drive.
Just drive to survive.
Thank you. Just drive.
I say that to so many drivers, and then look how many of them crash out or spin off or whatever. We always say just drive. We look at signs all the time, and not that I want to come from my own team, but
I mean, if we want to talk about signs, I got words for that man. I've got words for him, but we won't go there. I'm just not gonna put that there. But no, back to qualifying was just such a mess. Like, so many things happened that were just really unexpected. Like Leclerc, he was not happy with his car the whole weekend anyway. But to finish 19th was beyond me. Like, he tried again on another hot lap, right? And he was doing better. He was going green. He was green, right? And I'm thinking, oh my God, surely he must get within the top 10. My man only went like 16th. I'm thinking, what? What is wrong with that car? Qualifying was all over the place. Nico Hulkenberg, I think he got to Q3 and he qualified. I think it was P9 or P10.
8, he ended up. He was 8.
That didn't make any sense to me, but he's just great at qualifying. Lando Norris had a fast car for qualifying. Like, there was no doubt in my mind that we'd see a McLaren in Q3. He had a very fast car. So all of that talk behind, not being able to get back up the pack, I just think he's had a lack of desire from last season, where he's always been at the back and he's just fed up.
It's not good, especially because, like, I don't want to say since Daniel left, but since Daniel left, things have been a bit different. Okay, things just been a bit different. I don't know. McLaren haven't been what we want to be. Anyway, before we get into that, I just want to go back to qualifying because Carlos Sainz qualified second, and I think me and she were saying like last week. Obviously, this is Carlos's home race, so we wanted to see something from him. We wanted to see something because this is your home race. Like everyone's cheering for you, and Alonso, this is your country, innit? Like I even saw someone with a flag that said, oh God, what did the flag say? Smooth operator. I saw 2 fans with a flag that said smooth operator. I was like, oh, babes, what happened?
To be fair though, when I saw him qualify second, I it took me back to that moment when we were discussing before, Simone. I was thinking, okay, that's it. Big things then, big things to come. We're gonna have a good race on Sainz. I was honestly thinking, right, this is it. He might bring it. It's his home race. You know, I'm always for the people who are going to bring it on their home race, and I thought he was going to. And yeah, obviously he didn't. I mean, he didn't do terribly, but he's done worse. But I just don't. It wasn't good enough. And I say that because actually, you know, with Mercedes now coming back, making a return, where else is Carlos Sainz going to fall? He's not going to be in the top 4. So actually being 5th is probably okay.
Yeah, it's not looking good for the Ferraris, especially like you said, Leclerc was not happy with this car the whole weekend. This is from a guy that was on pole at Barcelona last year. So just 365 a year ago, you were on pole. You basically started from the back on the weekend. What happened, boy? What happened?
I feel like Ferrari are regressing. Have you seen the... Oh, sorry, guys, that's my alarm.
Is that your alarm to get up? Is that another Beyonce concert? What's it for?
Do you guys know? I've got to go to my tailor after this. You guys know it. It was my alarm to get up because I was meant to be napping. But anyway, back to F1. What was I talking about again? Carlos Sainz and Ferrari. It's just, have you seen the rumours about... well, it's not really a rumour. Apparently... What's that evil guy's name at Red Bull again? The evil one. The one that looks like a villain. Helmut Marko. Yes. Apparently Helmut Marko had to convince Christian Horner to stay at Red Bull because he was going to go to Ferrari last year. Did you hear? No. Did you see that?
No.
I couldn't believe it.
I was like, ah!
But Christian Horner's kind of Red Bull through and through, no? Like,
mate, I was looking at it. I was like, are you being for real? Like, apparently he was meant to replace Matteo Binotto. And I'm thinking, Ferrari could have used that. They could have used him,
but I can't see him going. But they could have used a bit of that still.
They could have used him.
Much of a difference. I know, like, he is the guy, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's not him making the car. Do you know what I mean? It's there's problems way beyond him, you know, way further back than him. So is he going to make that much of a difference? I think Ferrari need to start looking, you know, deeper than who's leading the team.
But that's the thing. The leader of the team will weed out those that are incompetent. Because one thing that Binotto did not do last season, or from what I know anyway, he didn't weed out the idiots. The clowns that were doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G plans. Like, they didn't weed them out. Xavi's still there. Why is Xavi there?
I'm sick of hearing strategy A, C, D, E, F. Okay, but you know what the next thing is? Whatever strategy, number, letter you're calling out, ain't none of them working. Ain't no strategy that you're calling out is working.
And so, like him or not, yeah, Horner is ruthless and he is a bloody winner. He will go for gold and he'll do anything to get there. Ferrari need a man like that. And as far as this weekend goes, with what happened to Ferrari, God knows. I covered them all with the blood of Jesus because that's what they need right now. Honestly, they need it.
Deeper than that. Like, if we even think about last season and Ferrari's terrible pit stops, you know, it's not just, you know, the people, it's not just Xavi, it's not just people, you know, who are the engineers, it's the people who are like, it's everything. And at this rate, we'll be looking at Ferrari looking at almost a whole new team. And what are you supposed to do? Hire 100 new people?
Yeah. Okay. Basically, that's what you're supposed to do. You know what? When Nottingham Forest got promoted to the Premier League, do you know how many signings they made? They made a hell of a load of listen. They made a record number of signings. So much they needed.
They're not like 21.
Yeah, they need a whole team bust for the new signings. So maybe you might want to take a leaf out of their book and get a whole new team. You know what I mean? The same.
I've got another question actually, just quickly while we're on Ferrari. Is any of this to do, but not all of it, but is any of this to do with the drivers, Carlos Sainz, or do you think they're driving well, but the car isn't?
I'm not gonna lie to you. You know, I will do anything to not stick up for Carlos Sainz. You know me. I'm not a Carlos Sainz hater, but I just want more for him, right? I genuinely feel that they are doing everything that they can with what they have. I feel it because Sainz was making commands this weekend. He was like, what do I need to do? Keep Perez behind me. How do I do this? Why is Hamilton in front of me? Blah, 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 blah. You know, even last week when Hamilton was behind Sainz and they were like, Hamilton's right behind you. And he's like, I don't care about Hamilton.
I don't care. I'm not interested.
He's like, I don't care.
Don't tell me about that.
Who's in front? You know, that he's doing the best he can with the machinery in front of him. And I respect him more and more for it. And you can just tell, like, they are fed up. Both of them are fed up. Ferrari is a huge name in motorsport, but right now they're just not acting like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks soul draining. Like when you look at him, he looks like so heartbroken. Like this was like, last season and this season should have been your season to be challenging Max. Like you came with the big like improvements to your car, so you guys should be at the front. There's so many races last season that Ferrari should have won and you didn't win them. And Barcelona last year was actually one of them. You actually should have won the race because you qualified on pole. Like you should have won the race, but you didn't. It's Jesus. It's sad. It is sad. Anyway, we need to get into the actual race of what happened.
I would love Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc driving a Red Bull, by the way. I'm just putting it out there. I would love to see both of them and see what they can achieve.
I would love to see Charles Leclerc in a Red Bull. That's as far as I'll take it.
Well, let's get into the race. Okay. So we had I was about to say our boys, not our boys. I don't know who boy he is, but we had Max. Max was in a league of his own. He was in a race of his own. At this point, Max is racing himself because he was so far ahead. The man pitted, could have had a cup of tea and a coffee and a biscuit and came back out and no one's touching him. Like he was so far ahead. So Max definitely was in a league of his own. And, you know, we had first lap, Lando and Lewis touching, and I was like, Lando, for fuck's sake. And you know what it is with this? I always get a bit nervous when Lando is behind Lewis because I feel like something always happens. Lewis and Lando, although I know that Lando really does respect him and whatnot, there's on track, there always seems to be something when Lando is behind Lewis, and I don't like it. So yeah, we had that happen and it caused more damage to Lando than anything else. Lewis seemed to be untouched by it, and you know, he went on to have a brilliant race. Lando had to change his front wing. And yeah, there were a few little bits and bobs in between that happened in the race, happened within the race. But overall, there wasn't that much for me. I was just happy that Lewis was second. So we had some great overtakes as well from them. And you know, I love a nice little overtake and whatnot. Oh, yes. What else was I speaking about? Oh, yeah, Carlos Sainz. Just when I thought he could have maybe held position, we won't even get into that. And his face is like, really? really? I was like, yeah, it just wasn't gonna work out. I'm happy there was no DNFs, like no one like crashed out or anything like that. So it was, like I said, it was a decent race. Obviously happy with the outcome. I actually was really impressed with, we'll talk about him later, but Perez for working his way up. And I'm happy that George fought him off. I'm happy that George, like, though he wasn't like, when I say fought him off, because he wasn't all that close, but I was like, but I'm happy. Anyway,
George really, really impressed me. His start was Shanice.
I knew it. I said it. I'm telling you, and you can't cuss him out no more. George, go through. Anita's going through.
Oh my God. This is the last time I give George his flowers. This is the last time. No, but he actually really, really impressed me because he started, I think, P11, worked his way up that field so easily, and he did it in the first lap. It felt like I was playing the F1 game. Because when I play the F1 game, I put the difficulty down to like 40%. I could drive past anybody within that first lap, and he did exactly that. He was playing F1 22. Everyone else was playing checkers. Like, it was just ridiculous how quickly he got off the pack, and I was really impressed by that. And I look at someone like Sergio Perez, and I'm thinking, you're the only person that can fight for a championship with Max Verstappen. And the fact that you didn't have the balls to do what George did is beyond me. Like, as someone who's fighting for a championship, unless you truly don't believe in yourself, you are making all the stops to try and work yourself up that path. And that's why he didn't end up on podium, because he just did not have it in him. So I was really disappointed in Checo.
It was sad. It was like you said, like George really did impress me as well. And one thing I thought was hilarious from George, like I heard him on the radio so damn much. I was like, can you shut up? Like, you are on this radio like every 5 minutes. George was doing up like strategic plans. He was weatherman. Oh, I think it's gonna rain. And then they were like, George, it's not looking to rain. Oh, George, like, I think it's the sweat about my brow. And I was like, George, hold on a second. You thought sweat dripping down was rain. First of all, how would the rain even have got inside of your helmet for a start? Okay. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. But George was like, what can we do? Is there more I can do? Can I push even more? Yeah, I can push even harder. So I was really impressed. Oh, to go back to Max, I don't know why I keep talking about this jam boy.
Go on.
So Max was driving so fast, yeah. He was almost going to get his checker flag because he was driving so damn fast. He went over track limits, and Max was like, when did I do that? When you were driving, my Donny, you went over the track limits when you were driving. Like, come on. And
Max,
sorry,
he literally went at the speed of light that he didn't even notice. He was just like, oh. Do you know what pissed me off? It didn't piss me off, but it just showed me that one, Red Bull are hiding their real potential of that car. And two, Max is an amazing driver. Well, I wouldn't say an amazing driver, but he's a quick driver. He asked, what's the fastest lap? Was it Lambiasi? He's technical guy.
I'm smashing it.
His technical guy was like, Checo was a 1.66, but he had fresh new tires. You don't have to worry about it. It's fine. Max goes, nah, it's all right. I'm at the front. It's fine. I ain't got no DRS. It's fine. He does a 16.3. What? On old tires?
Yeah.
What? Excuse me? He had no right to do that. And I was like, okay, this Red Bull is the real freaking deal, one. And two, so is Max Verstappen. That guy's a demon. He is.
But the one thing I do disagree on though, I think he knows he was going over the line. I honestly think he was just doing it because he can, because why the fuck not? Because that's also helping him
get bored.
Like, I'm driving by myself anyway.
The fastest lap anyway, and he knows he's not going to really get in trouble because what for? Because even if they give him a 10-second penalty, it ain't going to make no difference. He's just having a great time trying to keep himself occupied for the 2 hours he's got to lead that race. So I do think he knew I don't think you can't, like, he comes to the radio like, oh, I didn't know. Let's be real. You can see where you're going. You're not dumb. But the one thing I do have to say actually was I was, I love a George strategy, but at one point when he came on talking about that rain, I just thought, you know what, you're a damn nuisance, because actually the commentators were then saying, because I think it was Perez was about to pit and was pitting, and the commentators were like, oh, he's going on to I can't remember what they said.
He was changing his tires to into or something. I was like, what?
And they were like, oh, should he not go on to wet tires because it's raining? The commentators were like, oh, this could be a bad move for Perez. And then I'm thinking, George, you're bloody nuisance, because it's not even raining. And you had some other team about to change up their strategy on their tires because you're calling rain and it's just wet.
I'm sorry. I know I wasn't here last week, yeah. Not last week, earlier this week, because I was at Beyonce doing Beyonce things, yeah. But George needs to stop with his strategies. I've had enough. Enough. It is enough. When he said me and Lewis should invert cars in Monaco, I said, excuse me?
What did I say?
Audacity.
Who are you?
I could not believe he was like, the most important thing is the points. Nah, bro, fight them yourself.
No.
Nah.
You
That
thought your 5 second penalty
brought me back to that. Nah. How
you thought the 5 second penalty meant that you and Lewis could change position? So just go, oh, if we change position, at least we'll finish like behind each other. No. George.
Drive faster, bro.
We ain't doing that.
Drive faster.
Yeah, we ain't doing that. Shanice, didn't I say last week? I said, I was like, what the fuck was George doing?
You know me, I do love a George strategy. And I was fighting as Simone a little bit on that one, but this week I was thinking, nah, man, like just let the people do their job, because you're calling rain and it's your own sweat. And then you've got people changing up their strategies thinking it's raining. Oh shit, we got to change the strategy. Do you know what I mean? It's not even raining. But I do, but it just, honestly, I was cackling, I was howling, I was cracking up with that. And I know earlier you were talking about like Max and fastest lap and whatever, but not even just the fastest lap. I just need to give kudos for their fast pit stops. Like, I know that we know that they do them, but there was just something about this week where I just thought, shit, like Max is so far ahead and he's still doing, I think it was like, there was one that was like a 2.6 and there was one that was like a 2.2, something like that. And Red Bull were generally, from what I saw, were averaging like between a 2.2 and a 2.6 pit stop. Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
That's new for them, that they are very fast at their pit stop. That's what they're known for. Their pit stops are like in and out simultaneously, like they are fast.
So much attention to like Ferrari's slow pit stops, and they're mashing it up all the time. I'm always watching their pit stops quite closely, and it means that sometimes I forget then to watch, some of the greats. And I do think Red Bull have just got it down. And so maybe Ferrari do need a bit of Christian Horner, because, that is one of their downfalls. And Red Bull, they just kill it every time. I love watching them pit now for that 2 seconds.
That actually just made me Jesus, get my words out. It reminds me of when George said it's raining and I saw Christian on the pit wall put his hand out. And he was like, rain.
Man said, I don't feel no rain.
I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything.
Well, rain at turn 5. It was kind of just like, well, at some point that means it's going to be raining on the whole track, maybe not just at one turn. So let's just see. And they kept waiting and monitoring for this rain, and yeah, it just didn't come.
I was like, George, what are we doing here? But you know what? Overall, I enjoyed the race. What? But overall, I enjoyed the race. I really did. I loved the fact that we saw the potential of the Mercedes. We saw some of the new upgrades come in, and we got to see on a track, which I said, like, Barcelona is going to be the track that you see this on, because obviously we didn't have Imola. Monaco is a street track where it's just too tight. Anita, come back to us, please.
George can commit murder, man. That guy can commit murder. Look at the lies. It's the lies. It's the whole, can we invert the cards? Let me say my own back. Can Lewis in Monaco, Lewis was dragging him with the DRS. Lewis could have just driven off. He said, let me help my teammate. And my man said, no, let's
Yeah,
invert the cars.
Hold on 1 second though. You can't praise Carlos Sainz for coming onto the radio and putting out his 2 cents and saying, "Oh, how can I improve? How can I just blah, blah, blah," and then cuss out George for his strategies. At least he's coming with some ideas.
Yeah,
Carlos,
but
It only benefits him.
Shanice. That strategy was selfish to me.
It was
not the
wild.
Monaco one. Okay, I agree with that. Not the Monaco one. I also disagreed with that strategy. I think that was a terrible idea. But you know, I do think at least he's given some ideas, which is really important.
Some ideas he might want to keep to himself. I'm not gonna lie.
Not the rain. Don't tell me it's raining.
He was on the radio quite a lot.
It's raining. Well, we can see that.
I'm sorry. He reminds me of Randall from Recess. Like, Miss Finster. He reminds me of him so much. Like, why have you always got something to say, bro? Why are you always on the radio, bro? Please, just...
No, you cannot have a go at George Russell and then praise Carlos Sainz for doing a similar thing.
Do you know what, Shanice? Like, it's not similar because the thing it's just not similar. The thing is, Carlos Sainz comes on the radio to make sure that everyone is on job, to make sure that people know what his priorities are. His priority is not people behind him. His priority is making sure that he keeps everybody at bay firstly and that he is fast enough. That's his priority there. George's priority is to get the best result for himself.
Yes, but we've said this many a time. To be an F1 driver at the top of their game, you have to be selfish.
That's right.
Selfish, and stupid. That was a silly suggestion.
You do. But the next, you do. You're right, Shanice. But the next time George tells a 7-time world champion, 8-time world champion to invert their cars, I will lose it. I will.
And on that note, girls, you should have stayed at home.
God. Should I go first? Because
yes.
Go for it.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm laughing already. Okay.
I'm laughing, I don't even know who it is.
Okay. Let me censor it back. My should have stayed at home. I have a couple of suggestions, yeah. You know, every week that I'm here, there's always one person that I say should have stayed at home.
Jesus is Lord.
It's always Valtteri Bottas. How Bottas?
Yeah. Oh God.
How that man? In fact, let me even make sure I'm correct as to where he finished on the day, because God needs to hold me. That man finished 19th. He finished 19th and qualified 16th. Bottas, what are you in this sport for? Like, if you're fed up, be fed up and leave. It's enough. Am I the only one?
No,
I
did think about having him as my should have stayed at home, but I thought, you know what? I think it's too obvious to have him as a should have stayed at home because
and that was it. And that I thought
it's too obvious. Because
and I also feel like, I was gonna say, I also feel like your Bottas, Anita, is my now Kevin Magnussen. Like I'm reasons. So I appreciate the Bottas, and I think 100%. And again, I didn't choose him because I was kind of like, oh well, he's the same as Magnussen to me now. I'm just like, he's just maybe he's fed up, whatever. So yeah, I agree, man.
Lord,
shout.
Thank you for agreeing, because other times you guys were telling me I'm too harsh. Nah, this man is fed up of F1. He needs to get the fuck. Anyway.
Yeah, but before you leave, you got to get your bag. You stay in it for as long as you can to get your bag. I don't think he's fighting for the championship. It's just for the bag, and and the vibes, having a great time, being able to say, yeah, I'm an F1 driver. And one day he might have some luck. There might be a whole heap of crashes. He's the only car left, and he's just number one.
Girl.
Shouldn't he?
Like, I look at Zhou Guanyu. He finished 9th. A whole 10 places up on one of the most experienced drivers on the grid. It just doesn't make sense to me. Another option was probably Fernando Alonso at your home race, brother. Like Aston Martin, they really crashed and burned.
Beautiful.
Oh, stop. I really thought Alonso was gonna pull something out of the bag, honestly. I had high expectations for him. What'd you say?
He was struggling.
he struggled hard. But I do respect him for not trying to overtake Lance Stroll. Like, he told Lance Stroll, don't worry, you can keep the position. I'm just going to try and fend off the people behind, kind of thing, which was really cute. That was nice.
Why do you think he was struggling though? Because I didn't write him down in my notes, but I just kind of felt like he's had such a good start to the season. I don't want to crush him too soon. But
Yeah.
I felt like what was it? Was it the fact that, you know, like Mercedes are now back on top, so there's more people to contend with in terms of getting those top spots? Like, why were they struggling so much?
I honestly don't care.
Simone.
Simone. Start being like a real a new good team for me to start rooting for. You know, I like the underdogs. They could have been my new Ferrari next season. I needed
to be fair, they still can be. I just don't think the track suited them as much, because, you know, sometimes there are just tracks that just don't suit certain teams, and this might be it for Aston Martin. They weren't particularly fast over the weekend anyway, and on top of that, with Mercedes upgrades, their upgrades were really good. The upgrades were really showing, so it could be a mixture of both. It could be the fact that the track wasn't good for them because it's a high downforce track, or it could be the fact that Mercedes just got it spot on and they couldn't have an answer for it. I don't know. But even that, at your home race, brother, do better. And finally, which is my actual should have stayed at home.
Oh gosh.
It's Ferrari. I'm so sorry. It's Ferrari. The whole team. For what they did with Leclerc's car, not being able to find a solution. I remember they were saying how they didn't have enough time to find a solution after qualifying and stuff, even though they decided to change the gearbox and start in the pit lane. And Charles Leclerc, he did a good job to finish P11. But even at that, I look at it as, how did you not find the problem with the car? I look at teams like Mercedes, who would have stayed up through the entire night until they found out what that issue is. Yeah. And they would have broken Parc Fermé just like Ferrari did and started in the gearbox. If you're P19, you might as well do that. Find out what the solution is. Stay overnight. Do whatever you can, and make sure. Because Charles Leclerc, like, he's not an idiot. Like, that guy can drive. You know what I mean? He can really drive. So I feel like with a competent car, he would have easily finished in the points, but he couldn't do it because the car was just off balance. So it's Ferrari for me, and the fact that they didn't necessarily give Sainz the wrong strategy, but they left him out there like a sitting duck because the car just wasn't good enough. Perez was able to get past him. George Russell was able to get past him. Yeah. It was like he was opening his nyash and the storm came through. So, yeah, man.
All the man was coming through.
They ran through him. But those are mine.
My should have stayed at home is sadly going to go to one of my loves, Pierre Gasly, because you had a bad weekend, Like, it just wasn't good from qualifying. It just all went downhill. And it's just like, how did you rack up so many infringements and then you get a 10-place grid penalty? It's just like, babes, what actually happened? Like, it just wasn't good. And I was watching the race, trying to look out for him, and I was like, oh, I hope he can at least get in the points, which I think he finished 10th overall. Yeah, he finished 10th, but I was like, you actually qualified 4th. Do you know what that means? Like, you qualified 4th. Like, oh man. Yeah, it wasn't a good look for him. I do feel he might have lost a bit of confidence. And I can tell just by looking at him, like in his interviews and stuff, it doesn't look very like, yeah man, I'm having a great time, like I'm enjoying this car and rare. It doesn't look like that. It just looks like I'm here and I'm just driving.
Do you think like he's lost his confidence in general, or the fact that Ocon was 3rd last week kind of gave him a bit of a knock as well? Because that is a bit of competition as well between your own teammate.
I mean, yes and no, because Pierre finished within the points in Monaco, so it's not like he finished well out of the points. Like, both of you drivers got points. Yes, Ocon got on podium, but it's not like you finished like 19th, like Bottas. You know what I mean? It's not that bad. Like, I don't know. I think it could be a mixture of both, but that's my should have stayed at home. Who's yours, Shanice?
Mine, okay, so let's have a little look on this, on my notes on the list. So the first one I was thinking it could be is Magnussen. Now, I'm not.
Oh my God, I'm so surprised.
Well, no. I only started calling
Kev, man.
anyway. The
Big
reason
Mac.
is because he was my should have stayed at home last week. Was it last week or was it the week before? There was
I think it
one.
was last week.
Oh, okay. Well, he could have had a mention the week before that as well, then, because I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I was debating with Ola because Ola had him as like his star boy or something, and I was like, he's my should have stayed at home, no chance. So I think for me personally this week it was because at one point like Hulkenberg was doing, not obviously he wasn't doing amazingly well, but he was consistently getting like fastest lap. I saw it flash up a couple of times, maybe 3 times.
I don't know how.
Well, no, but that was it. I thought, how is it that your teammate for a moment, it was quite early on, but how is it for your teammate for a moment is getting like fastest lap and you ain't even showing up? It just made no sense to me. So it's kind of like, but I can't come for Magnussen again. So then, and obviously he did also finish 18th, which isn't a good place to finish. And then I was thinking Logan Sargent, because another one who just didn't show up and doesn't seem to be showing up, but I keep cussing that guy out as well. So I thought, no, I need to choose another one. So then I went further down onto the list and I was thinking, okay, what about Lando Norris? Because he did have that crash at the start with Lewis, and it was his fault. It was a driver error. But you know me, sometimes I'm just a bit too nice. And I was watching an interview with him afterwards, and I just felt so bad for him. And I didn't want to have him as my should have stayed at home, because I just thought, oh God, I really felt for him. He was talking about like the fact that, yeah, it was great that they qualified and they were starting third, but actually it's not like a third place car. He was never going to be able to compete. And I kind of just thought, yeah, I kind of get that actually. And that's why I was asking earlier, oh, do you think like he can't compete with those cars, which is why he was, crashing into Lewis and didn't react fast enough? Is it lack of practice? But yeah, you're right. Obviously, he's always having to react quickly and surrounded by cars. But when he said that, when he was just like, I just thought that the hype was built up and I was never going to contend, it made me feel like he was giving up. And I felt really bad. And I thought, you are my should have stayed at home, but it's not meant in like a mean way. It was just more like, I need you to stop being at home, actually. I need you to come back, because I missed that Lando with the spark and I'm excited about,
No, I don't really.
No, I get you, Shanice. I'm totally with you on it. Lando's one of my favorite drivers as a personality. Like, I just love him. I love his sarcasm. I love his realness. I love everything about him. But he does look like he's given up. Like, I'm not being funny. For a car that can qualify Q3, whether it's over 1 lap or not, it's still a quick car, right? And I feel like if he put his mind down to it, or if he really believed in this car and he just didn't look so fed up, he could have maybe worked his way at least a bit higher than, where did he end up again? Where did he finish? Does anyone know? 17th. He finished 17th. He could have worked his way up a bit higher, in my opinion. But then again, I look at Piastri dropping 3 places and thinking, could he have done as well as I think? I don't know. But I really hope Lando finds that desire again, because he's clearly lost it. And it's so sad to see. And he's lost it ever since last year. Let's keep it G. He's lost it.
Yeah, you can tell. You can see it in his face. It's just
yeah.
It's just not.
You were mentioning about like since Daniel Ricciardo left, and I think what, sometimes having a teammate that you really kind of get on with, and obviously even though Daniel Ricciardo wasn't really showing up either, he was still very experienced, and I think sometimes having that as well can give you a bit of confidence. Do you know what I mean? This is a really weird analogy, but I was watching like the new old Spider-Man, the one where it's the animation one. What's it called?
Yeah. Don't ruin it. Do not ruin it.
No, I haven't watched the new one, but the first one to that, right?
Oh, okay.
And it was the same thing. It was like, he had that Spider-Man mentor, and it really helped him. And it was interesting when you were saying, Simone, about, it's since Daniel Ricciardo left, and it made me think, I wonder if it is actually. It's hard having 2 newer people in a team, because you're both just trying to figure it out. But actually, it's nice having a friend and a sounding board.
But Lando's not new to this, so whichever way you look at it,
But he's supposed to be like the grandmaster now. He's supposed to be the one. He's supposed to be
showing
mastery. Yeah, exactly. Which is a lot of pressure. When actually, if you're not feeling confident enough yourself, do you know what I mean? So
He has himself to blame, man. I'm so sorry. Red Bull came looking for him and he signed a new contract with McLaren. Where did you think McLaren was going? I'm so sorry. At that point, that's where I draw the line and say, you have yourself to blame. You do.
I don't ever really feel sorry for Lando. I don't know why, but I don't know. Like, I don't ever feel sorry for him. He's in like a 10-year contract with them, like, or some 360 deal. Like,
Bruh,
I feel like he's there for a long time.
he's in death row.
He's there for a long time.
So early on in his career as well. God, I understand loyalty, but come on, you want to be a world champion. McLaren haven't won a world championship since Lewis, I think. Was it Lewis?
It has to be Lewis or Alonso. Like, we're in a new century.
One of the two.
We're in 2023.
Bruh.
So I feel like we're moving on to our star boy now. So, and I'm excited to hear who your star boys are. Who's going first?
Anita, who's your star boy?
I know I've cussed him out a lot. But George Russell is my star boy. I'll be objective as possible. Like I said, the overtakes that he did in that oh my god, Shanice.
No, do you know what it is? Because you cussed him out so much on this episode of the pod as well, and now you have to backtrack and be like, okay, yeah, he's my star boy.
People will listen. When people listen to this, they're gonna be like, "Is this two different separate episodes?" No, it's the same one where Anita said that what she said about George, and now she's probably giving him praise.
Listen, when I tell you, I'm just a tough love mother. Like, I will love you. Like, I love you, but I'm gonna tell you about yourself. I will tell you about yourself, but I will still love you.
For your own good. For your
own good. Yeah. Don't ever tell Lewis to invert cards again. But
this was me last week, by the way. This was me last week.
Bruh, I was thinking, we're not going back into it.
Mom,
it's fine.
It's a new chapter.
New chapter. But yeah, the overtakes that he did in that first lap, it was breathtaking, and the way he overtook Carlos Sainz within the last stint as well. I was just like, okay, you are about your business. You do mean business. You thought there was rain. It didn't let you stop you. It didn't let it stop you. He kept going. He persevered.
Rain.
And getting that P3 result. I would have given it to Lewis as well, because in fact Mercedes as a whole, because the upgrades, they clearly worked. And I've been looking for a pick-me-up, I can't lie, and that really was a pick-me-up. I was like, yeah?
We're back, we're here.
I was like, yeah, we're back outside.
I've only just clocked that Simone is wearing a Mercedes t-shirt. What the fuck have I been doing? Where have I been?
Outside.
Where have I been?
You clearly ain't been paying attention, but I'm here.
I have not been paying attention, clearly, at all. Until you tilted down your camera, I was thinking, oh, that's a nice little t-shirt. But then I didn't. What was I thinking?
We back outside, sis. We back outside.
Oh, that's cute. So my star boy is, I'm actually gonna get. I gave it to Lewis last week, so I'm gonna give it to Perez. Only because I think he needs a little pick me up, right? Perez started. I think he qualified like 11th, so he was out in Q2 just like George, and he worked his way up. He didn't work his way up, obviously, as good as George, because he didn't get the podium. But anyhow, I thought, you know what, Perez, I see you. And even Christian Horner says, you know what, it may not have been obviously the best start for him qualifying on the weekend, but he recovered very well. And I don't know if you remember when Alex Albon was at Red Bull, and Alex Albon obviously being their second driver, when he was at Red Bull, with Max being first number one driver, like they came into Alex had so much going wrong for him all the time. You wouldn't really hear Christian come out and say, oh, like he had a good recovery or blah blah. Like, not that I remember anyway. Like, it was never like any praise for him. So to see this and to just see what's happening with Perez, I'm like, yeah, I'll give you star boy, because I feel like you fully deserve it. I feel like he had a decentish race, but I'm going to give him star boy. And after the race, and he was doing his interviews and stuff, and he did look a little bit deflated. I think qualifying probably got to him more than he was letting on. Like, I think he was like, damn, I could have actually been up there. I could have been second. And you could see it in his face. He was just like, oh man. And then Christian was like, do you think he needs just a boost in confidence and whatnot? And he was like, yeah, I think he needs it. Like he's done all right this weekend. Obviously not as best as, but he's like, he's driving next to Max. So like, he's basically like, what else can he do? Yeah, my star boy was Checo.
Okay, that's good. I can't choose Checo because I've had Perez. I'm always gassing him up, so I can't choose him for my star boy this week. And I was actually looking down the pack to be like, okay, is there anyone who I don't really ever give kudos to? Is there anyone I don't really, praise enough on the pod? And so on my list, I actually did write down, and it was so annoying. He got this 5-second penalty at the end because I was just like, God, it ruined my star boy. But I was making notes on Yuki Tsunoda. Obviously, last season I cussed him out. Probably, I think he was my my Magnussen last season. I was just always cussing him out. And I just didn't think. I honestly didn't think he was even going to make. I didn't think he was very good at all. But I think he's been so consistent recently. Obviously, he hasn't done amazingly well, but he has been consistent, and he's been showing a lot of improvement. And I just thought, oh, that could be a reason to have Starboy, because I actually think, maybe next season we're going to see some even more advanced driving and a lot more improvement. I think next season we're going to be talking about him a lot, hopefully, in a good way. So I did note him down. I did note Perez down because I noted down like his comeback, because I honestly didn't think he was going to. I don't know what it was. I just thought, I don't know if he's quite got it in him, and it kind of gave me the confidence that he does. And I'm really happy to see that. Obviously I noted down George Russell. I think he did really well to come back. But I think another person who I don't praise enough on this podcast is Lewis Hamilton. So I am going to give my star boy to Lewis Hamilton. And it was so great to see his interviews after the race. He was so happy, so so positive. He shows how, we know he's an amazing teammate, and he's, always give credit to the engineers and people at home. And I really missed seeing that. I think at one point he was just winning so much. I was kind of like, yeah. We all know you're perfect. Yeah. But I missed seeing that. I loved his positive energy, his positive vibes. And it was good for me to see. And it really excited me. And I just thought, yeah, Lewis, man, I need you to come back. I need that real 8. I need that real 8, where we can actually say he 100% has 8 world championships. I'm excited about this new car. I'm excited about Lewis and George, and I'm excited for Mercedes to be back, hopefully.
I appreciate your Star Wars, and yeah, man, I was excited this weekend. And sorry to keep bringing up Christian Horner, but it just goes back to something that Anita said about Red Bull sort of hiding their potential. But I was listening to one of the interviews that Christian Horner said, and he said, oh yeah, when we get our upgrades, and you will see the potential of the car. And I said, hold on a second. The potential of this car? You mean the car that's the fastest on the goddamn grid? The car that is at lightning speed right now? You're telling me that this car can go faster than it's going right now? But these times, Lewis was what 15, 20 seconds behind him. What? Your car, Christian, does not need to be any faster. Just leave it alone. Just let us win. Just let us play too. Let us play. Jesus.
Yeah, but that is a good point, actually, because there genuinely couldn't have been any battle between Lewis and Max like the old days, because he was just nowhere near him. And that bit was a bit sad, but I was happy with a Mercedes 2-3. I'd like it to be, a 1-2, maybe a 1-3, but definitely that's a really good point. They can't keep getting faster because no car is going to be able to just catch up.
It's ridiculous.
I'm just waiting for the FIA to say that car is illegal and all their points will go on some shit, because
there's something going on with that car. I'm suspicious.
Bruh,
I love Red Bull, and I love the car. I love everything about Red Bull. I really do. I would argue they're probably, I don't want to say they're my favorite team. I know I'm going to get cussed out, but I do like Red Bull. and Mercedes. But I do.
Yeah, you can't like both.
There is something-
Simone, cuss her out.
I'm just saying, like, you can't like both. You can't do that. You can't be like, I support Man United, I like Man City. You can't do that, okay? Like, that's just not how this shit works, babes.
Oh, I know, but I like them all for different reasons.
You would never catch me saying, oh, I like Red Bull. What? I don't even drink the drink. Are you all right?
I do think there's something about that car that doesn't sit right with me. I don't know what it is, but I'm just kind of like, it's already went over the spending cap last season. I'm kind of just like,
Yeah, but you know what? This is where Ferrari have fumbled the bag, because now Mercedes are second in the constructors championship, right? When Mercedes started the season,
outside.
When Mercedes started the season, yeah, and we were struggling for pace, struggling on track. Now we're second, right? Now we're second. I'm just saying.
Back outside. Said you're outside, but you ain't that outside.
No, you lied.
Beyonce.
You lied. You lied. And you know what? I think back to when Ferrari were having their car reveal back early in February. I remember their launch. I was watching it on YouTube. And I just remember that launch at the track, and it was all looking all very good and blah, blah. And everyone's very excited. And it's like, this is what you're giving us. And I don't even support Ferrari anymore. Like, this is what you're giving us. This. God,
I don't let Ferrari go, but I feel like next season I'm going to have to let them go.
I feel like you're going to have to, just for your own mental health.
Oh, mental health, yeah, I totally agree. And you know I'm all about the mental health, man. Yeah, I totally agree. They give me anxiety every week. I get stressed out thinking about it. I get stressed out having to defend them on this pod. You know, because my own mental health, my own sanity. You're right. I'm gonna have to give up.
Yeah, I think you are, to be fair. But you know, overall, Barcelona, you delivered. It took me back to the memories of being there. It wasn't as hot as it was last year. It did look a little cooler. It wasn't as hot last year. My tan stayed for a long time. Let me tell you, my legs are very tanned. So yeah, we've got Canada next, Canadian Grand Prix. Not next week, the week after. So I'm looking forward to that. It should be a good one. Can't really say what to expect from Canada. I haven't watched Canada in a while, to be fair. But yeah, we're here. Canadian, all of that. Yeah. Get your maple syrup ready and your pancakes.
Get some good
yeah.
I'm hoping. I want to see Drake. He's Canadian. Justin Bieber. I'll because Shakira was at Barcelona.
For more reasons than one.
What? Shakira been outside. She left her husband. She been outside.
Yeah.
She and Lewis are looking very comfy.
He had a little dinner.
Let me upgrade from my man that got the girls to be my damn.
They are. I hope it's a real deal. But yeah.
I don't think they go together, by the way.
No, I think they're cute. But everyone said that about Lewis and Nicole Scherzinger. They were hot.
Yeah, I can't see it with Shakira, but anyhow, yeah.
Lewis likes the sugar mummy.
Yeah, she been about. She been. I mean, I'm not. No, not as if Shakira been about. I mean, like Formula One, like she been making herself clean.
Oh, okay, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, really? I'm sure she was married for years.
And I was like,
no, I don't mean that. I mean, like I've been seeing her at a track a couple of times, and you know who else needs a day job? Neymar, you have been at Formula One since God knows when. I feel like he followed them from Monaco to Barcelona. He was like, I ain't doing nothing else.
He wants to see his bestie.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's nice to support your team, you know, no matter what team they are or how many there are.
Last week at Monaco, I saw Neymar in numerous garages. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Horror.
It is a horror. But anyway, on that note, it's time to wave the checker flag on this episode while we look forward to the Canadian Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time. So, girls, it's time to say goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.